There's a creative state of mind I like to call the refresh state. And this is when we go to a creative challenge, like we're trying to work out the conclusion to a story, and we're in a state of mind very uncluttered. Our minds are not, there are not a lot of thoughts of the day built up. It's the opposite of how people feel generally at the end of the day, when everything that happened that day, everyone they talked to, everything they thought about, everything they were trying to do, all the different emotions they had are all built up and have created a sort of mental soup, gradual buildup of diffused thoughts. And I want to talk about the opposite state. This is where the reset, it's sort of like being able to hit the reset on a computer. We're able to clear all that out. This idea comes about partly from the techniques of mysticism. When people go into an isolation chamber and they try to reduce as much as possible any sensory input, what they're trying to do is push their minds towards a mystic reset. This is where a lot of social conditioning and the dogma of common sense and the buildup of habitual attitudes are flushed out, and the mystic is given a chance to see with a clear eyes, to take a fresh look at life. For artists, for any kind of artist, there's something very common to the creative individual, and that is the refresh state. And it isn't as drastic as some mystics in the north will throw themselves into icy water, or they'll fast for days and days. They'll go to extremes to hit the refresh. For an artist, a lot of the times the refresh comes about when we're working on a story and we haven't solved it yet. But when we do solve it, that is a moment of refresh. That is a moment where all the build-up, there's a way of thinking that builds upon itself, and it's sort of like plaque on teeth. As it builds up, it becomes less flexible and more concrete, but more robot-like almost. So as creative individuals, how can we reach that refreshed state? How can we reach a point when we stop for a moment thinking about things in the same way and see life as if for the first time with clear vision? Part of my writing routine is that I try to do all the creative work, the most creative work, early in the morning. And the reason for this is because we have a natural refresh. Every time you sleep, this is when you go into the sleep state, what you are doing, your mind is processing everything that happened the day before. Studies show that athletes and mathematicians, they haven't completed learning until they sleep on it. Everything that they practiced and studied the day before doesn't really become part of it. It doesn't get wired into the brain until you sleep that night. So you're trying to learn and study and gain new skills during the day. That effort isn't complete until that night, when they can take all that built up information and use it to make new connections in the brain and grow neurons in new pathways that lead to these new mental abilities. So there's a reason that we have this buildup of thoughts and feelings during the day, so that all of that builds up can get processed, and the stuff we can't really use, we can go ahead and get rid of that night. And so the great thing about this is that each day basically is you get one great refresh opportunity. Every artist should attempt to capitalize on this opportunity. Every day you have one chance at a really good, strong refresh of creative thinking. And I'm talking about something very biological, that you can take advantage of your natural wake-sleep pattern to find that creative refresh state. Find for yourself, and it depends on, for me it's early in the morning. Not everyone is a morning person. So, for you it may be at 4 p.m. Start to realize that you are in a different state of mind having to do with your sleep patterns. Try to utilize this. I think you'll be surprised. For me, I do two types of brainstorms. I do drawing brainstorms and writing brainstorms. That's the first thing I do. Well, it's the first creative thing I do early in the morning, because that's when these great ideas, that is when they happen. It's the refresh. I'm much more likely to see things with new eyes and to notice things for the first time, things that I may have been staring in the face all my life. But when you're looking at things with fresh eyes, you're seeing them anew again, and you're discovering new things about them. For writers especially, the refresh state is so important to working effectively, creatively, because the nature of writing builds up all this noise of ideas and dialogue and where the plot is going, and it can really cloud our thinking and make it very difficult to come up with new things and come up with solutions. And that's why writers will get up from their desk and go work in the garden or go take a walk. This is another form of reaching a creative refresh. Start telling yourself that you have one great opportunity each day to get into a very effective refresh state. And if you figure out your own, the way the machinery of your particular biology works, you can really start to make this work for you. Try to locate when it happens during your day. If you happen to fall into the refresh state while you're commuting to work, find some way to still take advantage of it. Essentially, artists, what we do is we try to get into discovery mindedness as opposed to robotic-like thinking. We have one thing really working for us, the fact that we go to sleep. When we go to sleep, we spend hours going into a trance state where our brains undergo this clearinghouse audit, tearing down and building new nerve pathways, getting rid of a bunch of information, useless information, and you get one great opportunity each day to achieve a creative state of mind that will only be available to you for that one period of time during that day. But each day you get a new chance to reach that state. And it doesn't mean the rest of the day is wasted, or why even bother trying to be creative the rest of the day. I mean, I'll do most of my critiquing and editing and illustrating later on in the day, and I still feel creative. It just isn't, I'm not looking for the eureka moments. I'm not saying that you only get this one window add it to what you already have going. People can be creative anytime, day or night. There is just an opportunity to be, if you find your personal pattern, you can find those opportunities to have naturally happen something very similar to mystics when they go into the isolation chamber to reach a certain state. We can take advantage of nightly sleep to achieve similar effects in our form of mysticism, that is creative thinking. I hope that was helpful. You can encourage me to make more videos by hitting the like button, subscribing, telling a friend, getting this video link out through Twitter, Google+, the other ways of getting links out there. Please take the time to check out my illustrated fiction called Terrible Immunity at solomation.com. I hope your writing goes great. I hope you enjoy finding new ways of reaching new states of creative mindedness. And have a good day.